Welcome back to another MapleStory Classic World video. In this one, I'm going to be showing you guys some training areas that I think will be pretty good for getting to level 30 based on my experience and observations during the online test. The level ranges that I'll be suggesting for each map are definitely not fixed. No doubt there'll be some variation depending on what class you decide to play, as well as your level of funding. So feel free to try out some of these places earlier or later if that works out better. Starting from level 1, all new characters begin their journey on Maple Island. This area is pretty straightforward, so I won't talk about it too much, but for the newcomers, you'll want to do every quest you come across as you move through the island. Typically, you'll be able to finish all of the quests in less than an hour, and that should put you comfortably around level 7 or 8 by the time you get the boat to Victoria Island. At level 8 onwards, there are quite a few maps to choose from that are beginner friendly that you can easily get to from any major town. From Alinea, I can recommend heading towards the field up north, which in itself is a decent map, but if you go a little further in, you'll reach the Tree That Grew, which has portals that are quite convenient for getting to the top of the map. It also has a decent layout for a party where you can take 1 to 2 platforms each depending on your party size. And since being in a party gives bonus EXP for every additional member, you definitely want to be grouping up where you can, so maps that can comfortably fit 5 or 6 people will definitely be a good bet. Another good option near Alinea and one of my personal favorites is the Southern Forest 1 dungeon, commonly known as Slime Tree. You can get here by going 3 maps southwest of Alinea and then taking the southwesternmost dungeon portal. This map has a tall and narrow layout which makes it nice and compact with a lot of platforms to make going up and down relatively easy. And as the name suggests, you'll only find slimes here, so it's very beginner friendly. If you prefer to train around Hennesis, the first map to the left of town is the Hennesis Hunting Ground. A very iconic area, and for that reason is likely to have people training there that you can party with. This map is filled with a variety of low-level mobs, though the slight downside, particularly for beginners, is that the top platform has green mushrooms, which aren't very easy to kill. If you're looking for an alternative around Hennesis, you could go 1 map east of town to the hill east of Hennesis. There won't be any green mushrooms here, so it is slightly more beginner friendly. Moving on to the Perion area, the first map I can recommend is Perion Street Corner, where you can find just 1 map east of Perion Town. It's a big map with a variety of snails and stumps, and is a popular spot for warriors to train just before or after their first job advancement. Another good option if this place happens to be full is just 1 map over at East Rocky Mountain 1. This map has a similar flavor of mobs as Perion Street Corner, so nothing too tough for a beginner to train on. If you're around Kerning City, a good option is the Kerning City construction site, just 1 map left of town. This map is mostly snails, stumps, and orange mushrooms, so is very beginner friendly. It's similar to Hennesis Hunting Ground in the sense that there are nice flat platforms, but there are some high level mobs like octos and green mushrooms up towards the top that won't be easy to clear as a beginner. If you're looking for an alternative map near Kerning, 2 maps right of town is the construction site north of Kerning City, which is mostly red snails, orange mushrooms, and dark stumps, quite similar to the construction site on the west side of town. All of the beginner maps I've shown near each major city I would say are still good to train at even after you job advance, and will be decent up to as high as level 15. At that point you could pretty comfortably move into maps with slightly stronger mobs without too much trouble. One of those maps that is worth considering around as low as level 12 is the hidden street map called Caution Falling Down. You can get here by going to the top of the construction site on the left side of Kerning City and entering through the hidden portal on the very top platform. This map is mostly filled with octopus with some orange and blue mushroom floating around as well. It's very likely that this map will be flooded with people, especially when the game first drops, so another option that is really similar to this one is the hidden street map called Northern Top of Construction Site. You can find this map on top of the construction site 2 maps right of Kerning City. It has the exact same mobs with a slightly different map layout, but it's more or less identical and probably won't be as busy as the other map since it's a bit further from town and slightly less well known. Another good map for this level range is the Forest of Wisdom, which you can find by going 2 maps southwest of Alinea. It's a fairly big map filled with mostly green mushrooms and slimes, and has some conveniently placed portals which will let you move around the map quite easily. You could pretty comfortably fit a full party of 6 here with enough space for at least a platform each. If for some reason this map is full, a good alternative you can get to just one map over in the forest south of Alinea is the Southern Forest 2 dungeon, which has the exact same mobs with a more compact layout. If somehow this map is also full, you could instead try the Southern Forest 3 dungeon, which again has the same mobs with a slightly different map design, but is more or less the same thing. From level 15 onwards, a map that I highly recommend and one of my personal favorites is Line 1 Area 1 in the Kerning subway. This is another iconic map and is one of the only places you can find bubblings. No doubt this area will be full of players from day one since it's so easily accessible from Kerning City. In my experience, you can definitely fit 2 parties in this map since there are a lot of platforms and the mob density is quite high. When I played the online test, I was still coming back to this map even in the mid to late 20s since you could always find a party here. You also didn't feel obligated to train for very long since there was always another person there to fill your spot, so you could basically just come and go as you wanted. Bubblings also drop the Fish Spear, which tends to sell pretty well to early game warriors, especially if you get one that's above average. So that's always nice, especially when money for potions is in short supply early on. Once you hit level 20, moving just one map over will put you in the Kerning subway transfer area in a room full of Sturges. This map is also a popular training spot and will be an upgrade from Bubblings if you can find a group to party up with. It's possible to squeeze 2 parties in here, but compared to the previous Bubblings map, it's slightly smaller with less spawn points. Sturges also have a great drop table, which include a variety of potions as well as low-level ores, which will be in demand because of the new crafting system. In my experience, this map isn't super ideal for warriors since the Sturges do fly around, making them a bit harder to hit if you don't have much reach on your attacks. But they do have lower defense and give higher EXP per kill than Bubblings, so for that reason I'd say they are still quite viable, especially if you can find a good party. Another Sturge map worth considering that would likely be less crowded is the Dangerous Steam located in the middle of the Sleepywood Ant Tunnel. It's mostly Sturges in here, but there are some horny and zombie mushroom as well, so it could be a little bit tough if you're in the low 20s. I'm not sure you could fit as many people in here since the layout is a little bit more complex, but it's a good option to have in your back pocket if you're looking for something different. A great option that becomes available once you hit level 21 is Kerning Party Quest. This party quest is very popular and is a fun alternative to grinding while still getting decent EXP. It has several stages which includes simple puzzles that you need to solve together with your party to progress through to the end. In the final stage, your group will have the chance to take on the King Slime, which has a small chance to drop the famous squishy shoes. Very big flex if you were caught wearing a pair of these back in the day. Once you've completed the PQ, you're rewarded with a mystery box which can sometimes give you a decent reward like scrolls or earrings. In the online test, it was quite effective to stay and train in the bonus room since the map was instanced and had a perfect layout for a party of 4. Something worth considering if you're struggling to find a training spot that isn't swamped with people. A very popular training spot for players in the mid-level 20s is Ant Tunnel 1 in Sleepywood. Here you'll find horny and zombie mushrooms and probably a lot of people as well. It's a decent sized map so can comfortably fit a full party, though it's not uncommon to see 2 or more parties in here at the same time since it's so well known. Some of the drops here are quite highly sought after as well, such as the Claw Attack 60% scroll from the zombie mushrooms, and a variety of other equipment that you can't normally buy at a store. If you find that this place is too busy, a good alternative just a few maps over is Ant Tunnel 4. The layout is almost identical to Ant Tunnel 1, but in my opinion it's a little bit better since it's slightly bigger and has a better platform arrangement, which in my experience helps to minimize how often you fall down when moving between platforms. Once you've reached the late level 20s, another option in the Sleepywood dungeon that is worth considering is the Cave of Evil Eye 2 and 3, which as the name suggests is where you'll primarily find Evil Eyes. Cave of Evil Eye 1 is also a decent map, but doesn't appear to have as high of a mob density as 2 and 3, so might be slightly less effective for a bigger party. It's also worth mentioning that all 3 of these maps will occasionally spawn a level 35 junior boogie, which isn't really ideal since they can curse you with an accuracy or jump debuff if you accidentally hit them. They also have relatively high avoidability, so might be a challenge for classes which tend to have lower accuracy like warriors. But if you do have enough accuracy and damage to be able to finish them off quickly, then these maps have great EXP potential. Last but not least, the final map I'll be recommending for this video is the Land of the Wild Boar, which is a couple maps over from Perion Town. Here you'll find mostly wild boars and a few dark axe stumps as well. This map becomes a good option around level 25 and is a good fit for a party of 4 or 5 people. Like the Cave of Evil Eye, there's the occasional junior boogie floating around which can be somewhat annoying, but despite that, it can still get quite busy here since it's a popular map to train at even in the early to mid 30s because of its simple layout and high mob density. The Dark Axe Stumps also drop the Wooden Top Throwing Star, which will fetch a decent amount, especially early on when there aren't many high level throwing stars circulating in the game. You can also get a variety of ETC items from this map, which will be useful for several of the professions within the new crafting system. Overall, there are a lot of reasons why this map is a great all-rounder and a solid choice for this level bracket. And that brings me to the end of this video. If you found it useful in any way at all, do hit that like button to support the channel. And of course, if you want to see more classic content, feel free to hit that subscribe button, and I will catch you guys in the next one.